You're the leader of your organization or the leader of a department, and you know it's your responsibility to ensure that leadership development is happening under you, but you're just not sure how to have the right conversations with your team in a way that really helps them break through the barriers and start building new leaders. Well, if that's you, stay tuned, because in today's video, I'm going to give you 6 questions you can use with your team to help drive better leadership development results. Hey guys, this is Mac Lake, and I want to thank you for joining me today. This channel is designed to give you tips, tools, and techniques to help you develop more and better leaders. Hey, you want to see your team developing more leaders, but they're really struggling in their effort. And deep down, you know that if you provided more help, they could make more progress. But you're a little unsure of exactly what to do to help them, other than just telling them, I need you to develop more leaders. That's not an effective strategy. So today, I want to arm you with 6 questions you can ask your leaders to keep the priority of leadership development in front of them. Now, here's what I know. When you take your eyes off leadership development, it ceases to become a priority in the culture of your organization. If you as the senior leader don't keep it front and center, no one else will. In fact, I would go so far to say that no one else can. It's your voice above any other that shapes the values of the culture of your organization. What you value, you talk about, you measure, you build accountability systems to ensure results. So it stands to reason, if you're not talking about measuring or installing systems for leadership development, then it's not going to stand as a value, and therefore is not going to be a consistent behavior among your team. Leadership development requires discipline, discussion, and accountability if it's going to thrive. Because here's what I know. The urgent will always have a greater pull than the important. And that's why you have to keep development in the forefront of the minds of your leaders. So here are 6 questions you can use with your leaders on a regular basis. I'd recommend at least twice a year asking them these questions, processing this with them. Question number 1, who are you developing? This is one of the most important questions you can ask those that report to you. This question helps you gauge the potential of a leadership crisis situation. If something happened and one of your key leaders were suddenly and unexpectedly gone, what would happen in their area? It's likely movement would come to a halt. And therefore, there would be some chaos and there would be some confusion. And it's natural for us to sort of excuse that away and say, well, we lost a key leader and things are a little chaotic right now. But the truth is, a wise leader is always helping key players reproduce themselves. I was listening to a video by an exec at Coca-Cola the other day, and he was talking about leadership development, and he said that Coke has 500 MCRs. I love this, mission critical roles. And in each one of these mission critical roles, they've identified 3 internal candidates for every single role. That means if somebody leaves one of those roles, they can fill that spot or at least cover it adequately immediately. Now that's protecting your culture. Now, once you ask this question, who are you developing? Here's a couple of follow-up questions you can ask. Who could step in and do what you do if you were unexpectedly unable to do your role? What parts of your role are you giving away or sharing on a regular basis? Really good follow-up questions. All right, question number 2. How many leaders do you have at each level of your pipeline? Now first, this assumes that you've defined your leadership pipeline. If you haven't done that, go back and watch my video, What is a Leadership Pipeline? Watch that, make sure you define your pipeline. Now, this question is so important because it helps you gauge the health of that leader's team. If there's a deficiency of leaders, if there's a deficiency of team members in his or her pipeline, then it's likely that leader is spending too much time working in the business rather than on the business. And they may not be providing the visionary leadership that you want them and need them to provide because they're being pulled down so far into the weeds of the details of the work. Now again, let me give you some follow-up questions on this one. How many leaders do you need? How would you describe the health of your leadership pipeline? How has your leadership bench deepened over the past 6 months? And which level of your leadership pipeline is strongest and which level is weakest? Question number 3. Who are the new potential leaders that are coming up in your area? Now, this is an important question because it helps you gauge the future talent of your organization. I want you to imagine that you have 3 key leaders that work under you, and you ask all 3 this question, and not one of them gives you a name. Then that's an indication that you don't have young, fresh talent being developed. Now, you may not feel the pain of this problem for 2 or 3 years, but I want to tell you, it is a problem, and I guarantee you will feel the pain at some point. So this question helps you keep your finger on the pulse of the future talent of your organization. Here's a couple of follow-up questions you can ask off of question number 3. Which of your leaders is mentoring these new leaders? And to what level are these potential leaders being developed to? And which ones are you most excited about and why? Question number 4. How many of the leaders in your area are currently reproducing themselves? This is a question that so few people ask, but it is so important. This question helps you gauge the degree to which you're building a culture of leadership development. If development is left to one person or just a couple of people, then you're limiting your leadership development impact of your organization. Here's a couple of follow-up questions to this question. What are you doing to help those on your team reproduce themselves? And what are you doing to celebrate the reproduction of new leaders in your area? Question number 5. What is the biggest obstacle you face in seeing a continual reproduction of new leaders in your department? Now, this is an important question because there will always be forces fighting against leadership development culture. This question helps you gauge the leadership development obstacles in your organization. So to not get caught off guard, it's good for you to be aware of the challenges that your leaders are facing with the reproduction of new leaders. Again, here's a couple of follow-up questions you can use. What resources or support do you need to help you see more reproduction in your area, and how can I help? Question number 6. I love this question. What are you doing to grow yourself? So few leaders ask their team this question, but this question helps you gauge the growth needs of your key leaders. I can tell you this, if the leaders under you are not growing themselves, it's likely they're not effectively developing those under them. Because here's the truth, growing people grow people. That's why I always want to keep my finger on the pulse of my team's personal growth. If they indicate they're not growing, it's an easy fix. I mean, all we have to do is challenge them or resource them to get them back on track with their own personal development. Now, if you'd like, check out the personal development video I did a few weeks ago. I'll put a link in the description below. You can watch that or send it to them so that they can develop a personal growth plan. And here's a few follow-up questions you can ask from this question. What character or competency do you need to focus on developing over the next few months, and how can I help? So, hey, I hope these questions are a helpful tool for you. Remember, it's your discipline of keeping leadership development front and center that will discipline your leaders to keep it front and center. Now, before you go, I want to give you an action step. I want you to send your key leaders this list of 6 questions and tell them that you'd like to sit down and discuss their answers in the next couple of weeks. And then you just make this a regular discussion every 6 months or so. Now, we've made this easy for you because we designed a free download. It's a one-on-one leadership development agenda that includes these 6 questions as well as the follow-up questions that you can use with your leaders. The link to that download is in the description below, so make sure you get that. So guys, thanks again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you click the like button, leave a comment below, and if you've not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and click the bell so that you will be notified every single time I put out a new video. See you next time.